All right, here today with Dan Corkill, the CEO and founder and everything at Follow Up Boss. Dan, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, excited to be here, man. Co-founder, I guess, CEO technically as well. Yeah, but yeah, I got a really talented technical co-founder that we've been doing Follow Boss for almost 10 years now. So it's uh, it's gone by quickly, and it's also been quite a while.
Yeah, that is great. And for our listeners and viewers who don't know, like Follow Up Boss is a tremendous CRM that I'm a raving fan on, and I think a lot of the other, if not all, most of the top teams and real estate organizations who are in, the lead space, at least as far as I know, are feel the same way as me. Is that right?
We got a lot of them. There's other good systems out there, but for sure, right? And it's been exciting to see a lot of our customers grow over the years. There's a couple of really big guys, which I know you know as well, like Robert Slack and like the Chris Lindahl's. Like these guys are just such, they have very different business models, but they're,
Very
in
different.
this respective markets, they're, powerhouses. And, a lot of them grew, Robert in particular just had Follow Boss from the very start as a single agent, and he has an amazing story of his own. But
Sure.
yeah, to see guys like Chris, and just everyone. I mean, so I think it is. I know you're very much a part of that sort of like, I would just say like elite top team group, and it's really great to work with those kind of clients because we can add a lot of value. And then also I think myself, I just learned so much. I'm not as good as at marketing as Chris, or a lot of other
That's the hard
different
part.
skills, right? And so I've just found that personally exciting, seeing people grow, and again, having clients you can actually learn from versus just sort of being clients.
Yeah, great. And so true, man. Like I sent you a message the other day. I've been on such like the auditing kick on like a quest for like the best conversion that's attainable. So I finally like made my right smart list after playing with it for hours, and I can look at it and get a full audit within like 30 seconds, right? And
That's
that's
awesome.
that's everything for me personally. So how did you guys start Follow Up Boss? What was that journey like?
Yeah, it's a great question. We started again like 10 years ago, back in 2011. I was just kind of like working a job, I guess, at that time. I'd done a few different things. It was kind of like always, I guess, interested in technology. The jobs I'd had were like kind of like in finance. That's what I did like my university degree in. And then I worked for a company. It was kind of like a personal development company, actually, over back home in Australia. Um, and they did a lot of online marketing. So that's kind of like what I was doing. I was like their online marketing, more a little bit of like the bridge between like, the hardcore engineers and like the marketing team, I guess, was kind of my role. Um, and yeah, anyway, like I guess like a lot of entrepreneurs, I just some point you're like, yeah, I don't want to work for someone else, right? Like I want to have more freedom in my life, and the companies I work for, like I only had really like good experiences. Like, I learned a lot and I was working with amazing people with all these companies. But again, for me, it was like, I think I need to do something else. Um, and yeah, anyway, we started just, I quit that job and I didn't really have a lot of plans. I knew what I was going to do was sell everything I owned and go overseas. Right. And so I did that.
Go
And
overseas
on,
and come here, right?
no, actually, so I kind of like went a lot of different places. So initially the plan was just to go to Europe, right. And to travel around Europe. I guess is what a lot of people from the US and Australia do. So it's kind of backpacking, doing like kind of like this digital nomad thing. But
Oh,
before I
that's so
left, yeah, it was. I mean, it was really fun, So I just had this very small backpack. It was like 22-liter backpack. Everything I owned fit in that backpack. So it was like a laptop, a couple of t-shirts, a couple of pairs of underwear, and dude, there's so much freedom. It's just like
I can't imagine.
a totally different level. But before I left, right, I was working with this my technical co-founder Tom. It just the time I was just working with him, and he's like, do you want to start a SaaS business? And I'm just like, well, I got nothing going for me. I quit my job, right? Like, sure. And because I just didn't, I kind of thought maybe I would get into software or something. But that was just such a good opportunity because I knew he was like a really good engineer from working with him previously. So anyway, we didn't really know a lot about starting a software company. We'd read some things online. We had some idea of what we wanted to do. We kind of knew there was not really a great CRM out there for small businesses. You had these things like Salesforce, which is not a fit for a small business.
Totally.
And you had things like Infusionsoft, which 10 years ago, it was a very confusing product. They've made a lot of changes since then. I think they've made it a lot simpler because I think they recognize a similar problem.
Yes.
And then there were just products that were too basic. So we just thought there was something in the middle. And yeah, we didn't really know a ton about marketing and product development, all those things. But we ended up getting into a course. It was called like the Software Roundtable, and basically run by someone. His name's Dane Maxwell, and he kind of taught a lot of these skills, like how to talk to people in the market, how to find out what they need,
Wow.
and then how to build a product which solves that need, right? And so I ended up talking to a lot of real estate people in the US, even though I was not in the US, right? I was over in Europe, in Turkey, in Germany. And so I just call them up on Skype and yeah, just find out what their problems were. Like, hey, Suneet, tell me a little bit about your business. And, seems like you may be having some problems with leads or something. Like, tell me more about that. So just all I wanted to do was not sell anything. I just wanted to learn about people's businesses and what problems they had. And so that's kind of like a very important thing, I think, for people that like want to launch some kind of new product or service or something. Like, it shouldn't be like what you think it should be. It should be like what your customers actually need, because then it's going to be so much easier to sell, right? So yeah, anyway, we did that and just found out at the time people were spending all this money on Zillow and like they had no system to follow up. This 10 years ago. So you had Top Producer. The people that really cared were paying someone literally to type those leads into, I think, Top Producer was pretty much like the predominant CRM at the time. And there was nothing automated. And I was also asking people like, do you like Top Producer? And they're just like, oh, I never use it. And I'm just like, okay, well, and so we just saw that problem. We saw the problem of online leads, distributing them, following them up automatically. And that's, I guess, how we launched Follow Up Boss and I guess found product market fit, if that makes sense.
That's so fascinating. So were you like cold calling real estate teams you saw that were advertising on Zillow?
No, I wasn't doing that. Although I think that would be a reasonable strategy. What I was doing mostly was sometimes cold emailing people. So I would just be like, oh, hey, I saw you posted on Facebook or in this forum that you're looking for a CRM. I'm just doing some research and thinking of building one myself. Nothing to sell you, like, could we just jump on a call? And because these are people that are already saying that they have problems, so it wasn't a cold call. It was, you're saying you got some kind of problem. I'm saying maybe I have a solution, right? So it's a very warm thing. And it's a mental thing as well. I think it was tough for me, and I think new entrepreneurs in general, or people that haven't been in sales, it's like people are scared of it, and it's like just coming at it from like a service perspective. Like, I'm here to solve your problems. That's all I'm here for. I'm not here to take your money or, do anything like that. So yeah, I think another thing which really did help was all these Facebook groups, which are still a massive thing today. I know we both know Tristan and Lab Code and, all these kind of things. But so people would post in there all the time, what CRM do you use? And I remember there was one specifically where someone posted something like that. And I'd been in this group for like 6 months. And I'm just like, this is my chance to pounce. And I'm just like, I knew a bit at the time, like what people needed. And I just kind of made a post that was a little bit markety and it just a little bit like, what would, if you had a system that like, automatically pulled in all your leads, gave you reports on them, distributed them to your agents, like, enabled agent accountability, like all the things that we do, would that be interesting to you? And then like, 20 people wrote, yes. And then I'm just like, yeah. Well, I can sell you another license if you want. But like then I'm just, then basically you move it to the DMs, and people are still just like, that was a thing 10 years ago. I think now there are people teaching those type of strategies. You move it to the DM, and then so me and you were DMing, And like, it's like, all right, let's jump on a call. And again, I wasn't, going hard into sales. I'm just like, I want to make sure this is the right product you need. I don't want to, waste my time building something if it's not what you need. And so some of those people became customers. We're also very lucky, I think, that the real estate industry itself is very tight knit, and like realtors are people. And like, so once we got a little bit of word out and a couple of initial customers, then they just told more people. Because again, it's like, well, here's a solution that everyone is like having this big problem, right? So.
Dude, that's fascinating. I love that entrepreneurial journey that you shared, bro. I love it.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, right? I've been there in multiple industries, and those hard days and the struggle, and you're broke and you just like need to make some money so bad. And yeah, totally.
Yes. One other thing I maybe should just add, like the reason I sort of went to Europe and also sold all my things and was sort of like this concept called baselining. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't know. But I'm curious, please.
Yeah. So basically the concept is you need to get your expenses as low as possible, because, when you don't have a job and you're trying to kick off a business, you need to eat and, like just do all the regular things, right? Like, but I was living in a super expensive city in Sydney, Australia, right? You can't baseline there. It's too expensive. Rent is too expensive, right? So that's why going overseas to somewhere cheaper, and ended up living in Turkey for a bit, and
That's awesome.
and Germany. In Germany, you can get an apartment, like a very small, apartment. I was sharing with my girlfriend, and it was like 300 euros a month, like per month, right? And so anyway, like I just think it's an important thing, because if you're looking to make the leap into real estate or start a software business, you need a runway. And a lot of people go out and get investors for software businesses, but you can self-fund it yourself. You just need to bring your expenses down so that you can survive during that initial, stage where you have no money, basically. Like you're not getting paid anything from the business.
That's great, man. I love that. So let's talk about going forward now. So like where do you see Follow Boss in 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, right now, like the next couple of years, we're really just focused on like, how do we help our clients stay ahead of, big tech? Like, how do we keep making them more efficient? How do we keep, I guess, enabling them to say, to achieve their goals? That's really our focus right now. And so I think, with the product, there's sort of always these incremental type improvements we're making, but other things we'd like to look into is like, how do we use all this data we have? Again, we have a lot of top teams using us. How can we like provide better insights? How can we maybe automate some things we weren't automating before? So again, just trying to solve this problem, I guess, of like helping you guys make more sales, or the real estate community make more sales. That's the next probably few years. I mean, I think we've always just taken a very incremental approach over the last decade. So it's like, actually having the meeting later today, it's like, well, what are our bets basically for Q1 that we think can add the most value, to our customers? And then longer term, like 10 years, like, I don't have a crystal ball. I think I want to keep, I mean, we want to keep growing the company. We're 50 full-time people right now. A lot of engineers and, great success support salespeople and so on. I mean, I think we will be like 100 people, like, probably the next 12 to 18 months. And, we just want to make sure, I guess, we've got enough people. I think the other thing is like, just, again, sort of making like Follow Boss be its own self-sustaining entity, I guess, is another thing, because me and my co-founder are still very heavily involved, and, we want to stay involved, but we don't want the whole business to depend on us, because it creates a little bit less freedom for us. And then it's not even healthy for the business, So right now we have a great management team, and I think we just want to keep empowering people. We also want to make sure it's like somewhere where you can come and you can really become great at whatever that thing is you do. Whether that's engineering, sales, support. So, I mean, that's the kind of things I think about. I don't really have an exact point I want to be in 10 years. Like, we're going to list on the NASDAQ and be billionaires like the EXP guys or whatever, right? So
All right. Man, I think that you're just nailing it. Everything you're saying about this, the entrepreneurial journey is just sticking with me. Not talking about management of the people wanting to double. You guys have been mostly virtual this whole time, like ever since day one, right? Or did you have an office with most of the staff there?
yeah, we've always been virtual. We've had like very small, like at one point we had like a 2-person office in like San Francisco. That's I think the closest we got to having an office. But yeah, we've always been virtual because me and my co-founder were always in different locations. Once we started the business, we used to work in the same office at this other company, but once we started the business, we were always in different places. And so I think that's been great. It's really let us hire the best people no matter where they are, right? Because I'm in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of great talent here. But if I was to hire only here, I'm also competing with Google, Apple, Tesla. Like, that's very hard. They can pay very high salaries. They got a lot of brand. So yeah, we've always been virtual, and it's kind of funny, not funny. I mean, I know there's like a lot of bad stuff that's happened with COVID and stuff, but now everyone is virtual. This has been this massive shift, and I think it's a really positive thing. Like we've certainly enjoyed like the freedom it creates. I used to hate like even the job I had before this. I made sure, actually, the 2 jobs I had before this in Sydney were in walking distance of my apartment. I'm like, I'm not going to get a job that is, I need to go and catch a train or commute for an hour in a car, so I think that daily commute, not having that, I mean, I think it's valuable. And so anyway, we have been doing it a long time, and there are challenges still. Like, we're not perfect at it. I think there are things you definitely lose by being remote. Like, even just communication is harder because let's say I'm having a problem. Well, now I've got to go and interrupt someone. And we have ways around that. Like we have like message boards and things like that. So you're not actually interrupting someone, but you miss some of that camaraderie. Like we're not going to go out and get a beer after work on Friday or something. So, it's not perfect, but there are a lot of upsides as well.
Yeah, I've had a challenge so I've been a virtual-ish guy, but I'm in local real estate, so I had an office, and I like to go there because it's cool. And I have little kids in the other room screaming all day.
Yes.
But my biggest challenge with the virtualness is I've had to hire some executive type roles, and it's been hard for me to get a vibe for people on 2 Zoom meetings, right?
Right.
So that's been a challenge, but hopefully we're getting through. So with our last few minutes, I know you have to go. What's some advice you have to the realtors out there and entrepreneurs in general that you can share with our viewers and listeners?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think, I think one of the things at the start is just getting clear on what you want, because like, do you want to build a big business and list it on the NASDAQ? Do you want to get investors? Like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And so I think that can dictate a lot of things. Like, because do you want to start a team? Do you want to be a leader? Or do you just want to make a lot of money being a single agent?
Yes.
Like, they're just 2 good options. And I can't tell you which one's right. You got to decide.
Yes.
So I think like having that kind of clarity, is important. And then I think the second thing, which, I definitely haven't done perfect, but I think just find people that have done it before, and then learn from them, like don't try and work everything out yourself. And like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs want to do that.
Yes.
Because you must like problem solving to be an entrepreneur. But just find someone that's ahead of you and get coached by them. I know you do a lot of coaching with John Cheplack and that kind of thing. And it's like, I think that's really valuable. I mean, I've done a lot of coaching over the years with someone who did start a software company, another Australian, and that company eventually did go public. And he just seen it all. Every problem I brought up to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, this is just what we did. We got this person." So just find someone that can help you because it is a tough journey. And I think it doesn't have to be so hard if we find the right people to help you.
Dude, great insight. And I feel like I know you better now. which is
Yeah, man.
valuable to me because I talk and I'm a fan. So good. So, man, I really want to thank you and I appreciate your time. And I'll be hitting you guys up soon because I'll need something. Right?
Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to chatting. Do you remember what you told me your 2021 goal is the other day?
Yes.
Can you share that with everyone? I thought that was awesome.
Yes. My goal is to crush the competition, but
That's
I already
awesome,
did.
man.
So and I gotta. I don't know. Like, I mean, we were just talking, and we'll take a segue for 1 second. Is I learned from all these people. Like, I will try to emulate. I've spoken to Robert 3 times this week, and it's only Thursday, right? So,
How does that guy talk to so many people? Every person's like, I talked
everybody,
to Robert. I talked to
yeah,
Robert.
so great. But he's such a giving guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and like coaching is massive. Like I've been a realtor, I think, for 6 years, and I was able to come up and get a lot of success. This year, I think we could be the top team in units in California, one or two. I don't know. I haven't counted yet, but
wow.
if we go off last year's number, so that's a big deal to me. And that comes from emulating others, being coached, and being in the right room. So I think that you nailed it, bro.
That's awesome. So you've crushed the competition, and then you just need to come up with a bigger goal, and keep crushing the competition, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's an inspiring. When you wrote that, I'm just like, yep, there's a little side of me that wants to do that as well. So
Yes, exactly. It makes it healthy, right? Cool, bro.
sure.
Talk to you soon.